If ghosts aren't physical, then how is this a matter of getting close or far or walking here or there? Do you see what I'm saying? Welcome to another edition of Paranormal Musings, is what I've been calling it pretty much. However, I have a new name. But this name was supposed to be like me and Bree doing our talks together. So I'm not sure if this name is going to apply to my solo stuff or if it's only when me and Bree are together. But it's going to be Fortean Tea. Trademark. So yeah, Fortean Tea is also what I want to call these kinds of videos. They may just be for when me and Bree are discussing this stuff, but if she allows me to have my own Fortean Tea, she can have her own, and then we can come together, then we'll do that. So anyway, this is a paranormal video. First of all, I have Amazon Prime Video, and I am currently subscribed to an extra channel, Destination Unknown, and it has a lot of paranormal shows, ghost hunting shows, monster shows like Finding Bigfoot, stuff like that, UFO stuff, all kinds of paranormal stuff. And I've been like binging the channel because I want to like watch all of it and then cancel my subscription, right? Because that's $4 a month, you know? That's a lot of money. So anyway, in binging a lot of ghost shows as of late, I've got some new thoughts that I wanted to come on here and discuss. And what I want to discuss today is the physicality of ghosts. I hope physicality is a word. The physical nature of ghosts. Oh yeah, I also have to disclaim, I don't eat up everything that a ghost hunting show puts out. Like, I am aware it's television, it's sensationalized, and that it could all be lies. I'm aware of this, alright, so you don't need to tell me that. I actually have very, very mixed feelings about ghost hunting or paranormal field investigation. I feel like all types of ways, but anyway, so I'm aware. The thing about these ghost shows is like each team has, and sometimes it's kind of across the board, there's like a certain worldview that these investigators, I guess especially the ones on TV, they only see things through one worldview, through like one lens. The team generally has like a specific set of beliefs that they adhere to, and that's what dictates their methods. They tend to operate within these certain parameters and traditions. And especially with what you see on TV, it's a lot more like, I don't want to say science-based, but it's a lot more data-based, and they're not very spiritual or metaphysical. A lot of them don't bring any sort of like faith or spirituality into this. Like they're kind of more nuts and bolts, if you will. So an example of such a worldview would be, well, this building is haunted because a person died in this building and the ghost that's in here is that person. And this dead person is here for one of two reasons. They are trapped here or they are here by choice. And that's it. That's what a haunting is. And I feel like a lot of ghost shows don't really try to consider other possibilities besides just the standard type of beliefs that you usually see amongst these investigators. And you know, it really frustrates me when I hear anybody say like, I don't know why this place is haunted. No one's ever died here. When it's like, there could be infinite reasons why a location is haunted, and it doesn't always have to be so black and white as like a human being died right here and now their ghost is right here. You know what I mean? Okay, and then another thing, I listened to a podcast, a Where Did the Road Go episode with Kieran Woodhouse, and he is a ghost hunter. And one of the things, or paranormal investigator, sorry. And one of the things that he pointed out is that these investigation teams are kind of copying each other. They are all kind of like, they observe other teams, learn from other teams, and then just inherit their methods. And one of the things he mentioned that really spoke to me was that we always ask the same questions. Every team seems to ask the same questions. Is there anyone here who would like to speak to us? Did you die here? Just very, very like standard kinds of questions. And the thing that Kieran was saying is that he wants to ask questions like, have you met God? Is heaven real? Like those like juicy questions, you know? All right, but let's get on to the real purpose of this video. The thing that has been striking to me in these ghost hunting shows is that these teens seem to have physical expectations of these ghosts. It's kind of hard for me to explain, but just bear with me. Obviously, we are physical beings, so that's kind of what we project onto any other sort of consciousness, as we expect it to have some kind of physicality, and that's how we relate to it, right? I understand it's just probably like human nature, but like, okay, how about these methods? So when a team sets up that laser light grid thing and invites a spirit to walk across it, if you walk across this, we'll know you're here. Or when they set up a REM pod on a table and say, if you get close to this, it'll make the sound go off and we can know you're here. Just walk up to it. Just reach out and touch it. The thing I keep asking myself is like, what if it's not a matter of getting close to the REM pod? Like, what if the ghost isn't like this physical like ball or orb that can move up and get close to it? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, what if the ghost does walk in front of the laser grid and nothing happens? Like, but what if it can't even walk in front of it? If ghosts aren't physical, then how is this a matter of getting close or far or walking here or there? Do you see what I'm saying? So a lot of these ghost hunting techniques just don't sit right with me. Sometimes I wonder if we are approaching this in the right way. This also brought me back to this disappearing object phenomenon. This idea of, you know, this thing that people experience where their keys disappear and they end up somewhere else. How did this happen? Did the keys levitate and float to this new spot and place themselves down? Or was it a matter of like dematerializing and rematerializing? I think I've asked that question in another video. But, you know, is the ghost picking it up and moving it because a ghost has hands? Or is it some sort of like psychic manipulation? We'll get back to the psychic part later. I also wanted to talk about this one time where I was watching my niece when she was like 2 or 3. She was able to reach the light switch. She like pulled a chair up or something and was able to reach the light switch. And she would just like flick it on and off and on and off over and over. And I thought, you know, that's kind of like what a ghost would do, you know? That's like a typical symptom of a haunting. Lights on and off. Faucets on and off. Doors open and close. When you think about it, there's kind of like a childlike nature to some of these behaviors. And I was recently listening to a Mysterious Universe episode that really resonated with me. They were just in passing talking about this. They were, you know, they had a point beyond this, but when they said this in passing, I just clung to it. They were talking about how when you are not in a body, when you are in a spirit form, you are no longer limited to your 5 physical senses. Therefore, you can have psychic abilities. When you are dead or out of body or, you know, not in a body. So if you have psychic abilities, what is an example of that? Telekinesis. So maybe it's not a matter of reaching your ghost hand out and flipping that switch, when instead it could be your own concentration, you honing in on your spirit body telekinetic abilities to cause that flip to switch. Do you see what I mean? And this could perhaps be why we have so many of these simple and oftentimes repetitive actions. If you were learning how to turn a light switch on with your mind, you'd probably do it over and over, you know? And imagine if you were a spirit in a building trying to say something, but all you could muster was the ability to turn a light switch on and off. That would be so frustrating. And this brings me to another thought I have after binging way too many ghost hunting shows. And I know that this data is not necessarily accurate, but let's just pretend it is for a second. Is it just me, or are the seance-y communication attempts the ones that get the best results? The less physical attempts at communication. I'm talking about specifically the types of communication that are in sort of a question and answer form. So yeah, they can be technology ones like the Ovilus, the Spirit Box, or EVPs. But I'm also talking about the types that rely on your physicality, like dowsing rods, like pendulums. So the seance-y attempts at communication, like ways that give a spirit a great medium to answer, especially like a yes or no question, they seem to get the best results. Even the techniques that seem like they're physical, such as the REM pod, especially like, you know, for question answering via REM pod, like make the REM pod go off for yes. What if, I mean, yeah, that works. I've seen that work. But what if it's not because a spirit is getting close to the REM pod? But what if the spirit is psychically activating that REM pod? I also think about the flashlight experiment, like make the flashlight blink or turn on or turn off for yes or no or whatever. It could possibly not be the spirit is pushing the button, you know? Like, the spirit can probably activate the light bulb with its mind or whatever. So even though this seems physical, it's really just psychic manipulation of physical things. So going off of this, let's think about when somebody gets scratched. Let's say I'm here investigating and I'm like, oh, ow, my arm is burning. And then I pull up my sleeve to see that I have been scratched. How does that happen? Do you think the ghost wiggles its little ghost hand into my sleeve and scratches me? Because we are not seeing my fabric get pulled. There is not a tear in my fabric. So that says to me that this isn't all physical. Like even this scratch, even the scratching and biting every time is not necessarily physical. We also have many anecdotes of people who have heard it sounds like all the dishes in their kitchen just fell and broke. And then they go out there and everything's fine. Everything's in order. How did your ears receive that message when it didn't actually happen? Is that some sort of manipulation of your own ears? Because obviously it's not something that physically happened. This is not to say that I don't think a ghost can manifest physically and that they don't. I think that in some cases they probably do. But this is just something that I've been thinking about lately. So I don't think a ghost can necessarily I don't think every ghost can just reach out and grab you or do physical things on demand. I'm also not trying to say I'm the first person that's ever thought of this, because I'm sure a lot of people are having this conversation, but it's been really fun for me to explore these thoughts. And yeah, the thing that gets to me about ghost hunting is a lot of times it is not exploratory or theoretical or philosophical. It's just very regimented and data-based and science-based, and you follow this worldview that's already been designed for you by somebody else about what a haunting is and what a ghost is. And I think we're looking through too narrow of a lens instead of going in there and kind of just being open and try to find your own answers. But you know how I mentioned that the seance techniques are the ones that really seem to get results sometimes? I do wonder how much of that does have to do with our own subconscious, because a lot of it does rely on our physicality. The pendulums, the spirit boards, those things do rely on our touch to happen. And, you know, even when we're looking at that flashlight, asking a question, we are expecting that flashlight to turn on. We are ready for it to turn on. And, you know, how much of that does have to do with our mind power or our subconscious? A lot of people do try to debunk things like the spirit board and the pendulum by, you know, saying that's the Ideomotor Effect. That's just you, like you're doing that. Even if you don't know you're doing it, you are. And that could be what all these results are. You never know. By watching these ghost shows, I know they edit out parts where nothing happens, but I've been really blown away at these people's ability to get EVPs and like get relevant words on the obelisk. But you know, like we already know what words would be relevant to come on the obelisk, and then they come up. Is that us? Is it really this easy? I don't know. And these are some of the questions that make me want to go out there and investigate in the field myself. And I think I might try it. I don't know. Should I? I would love to hear what you think about all this. If you have ever been ghost hunting / paranormal investigating, what your beliefs are on this kind of stuff. If you have investigated, what techniques have you found yield the most results? Is it the seance-y stuff? Is it the physical stuff? Do you find that you get more results when you're asking yes or no answers rather than some other kind of question? Like I said, I have a lot of mixed feelings about paranormal investigation. I love this concept of helping people, but I'm also a bit apprehensive of going into a location and possibly stirring things up just for the sake of our own curiosity. But God, my curiosity is strong. Anyway, so those are my current thoughts. My current Fortean Tea I have served. My current thoughts on the physicality of ghosts. So I hope someone else out there enjoyed this. That's it. See you later. Stay spooky.